Hello. Today is the first video about rewatching Tate videos to see how great they are and to comment on them. This video is about how and why Bugatti costs 5 grand. And yeah, first things first, Tate bought this for the brand. He markets it and he gets a lot more from it back. Usually in the life, Earth is not good, it's not bad, it's not corrupt. The Earth just is. And the rule is you can get whatever you want if you give enough emotions to others. Let's see what the car is all about.
So you've watched the TikToks, started exclusively drinking sparkling water, enrolled in Hustlers
Here's the
University,
best.
and now you want your very own Bugatti. But how must one search for their perfect Bugatti without...
What
So
about
you've
Hustlers
watched the
University?
TikToks, started exclusively drinking sparkling water, enrolled in Hustlers University, and now you want your very own Bugatti. But how must one search for their perfect Bugatti without...
I did not get it.
Enrolled in Hustlers University, and now you want your... So you've watched the TikToks, started exclusively drinking sparkling water, enrolled in Hustlers University...
So you watched Tate videos. You started drinking sparkling water. That's not true. I'm drinking Huel. And you enrolled in the Hustlers University, and now he's got a Bugatti.
And now you want your very own Bugatti.
Yeah, I want a
But
Bugatti.
how must one search for their perfect Bugatti without firstly understanding the Bugatti of the top G himself? Let's get into the 7 craziest features on Andrew Tate's Bugatti Chiron. The car in question is the Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport, a car that Tate claims has cost him an eye-watering $5.2 million with tax and shipping. That makes this singular car worth far more than the combined cost of every other car in his entire collection combined. So, what do you get as a top G that's just spent $5.2 million, and is it better than a fleet of other supercars? First of all, this is the Pure Sport, and Tate rarely talks about this, but it's actually the slowest Chiron you can buy, and even slower than the Bugatti Veyron from 2005, with a top speed of 280.
I don't know about speed of the other Bugattis, but yeah, let's say.
18 miles per hour versus the Veyron's 253 mile per hour, and the top spec Chiron's top speed of 304 miles per hour. Number 2 is all about this car's gearing and setup and why it's actually slower. Whilst having a top speed of 218 miles per hour, it doesn't seem like the correct choice for a perspicacious man that always claims to be the best of the best.
Good comment. The most perspicacious man that claims to be the best.
There is some method behind the madness. The Pure Sport has insanely short gearing, and this gives it its lower top speed, and that means it'll absolutely demolish a normal Chiron with its acceleration all the way up to 218 miles per hour. And as Tate has quite rightfully claimed, there are very few times that you do get to achieve 218 miles per hour, even as a sort of big kickboxing champion that does whatever they want.
I like his comments.
Next, number 3, this car was inspired by Star Wars. The Pure Sport's whole ethos is about being the best handling, most track-focused Bugatti ever made, and just like a 17-year-old with a clapped-out Honda Civic, Bugatti decided they needed a vast amount of gargantuous wang. No, this is not a Pet Boys Iron Board special, but a frickin' X-Wing from Star Wars. That's
X-Wing from Star Wars. I didn't watch Star Wars. Okay.
That's right, when you look at it, you'll start to recognize the similarities between this rear wing and that of Star Wars' iconic spacecraft. From Star Wars. That's right, when you look at it, you'll start to recognize the similarities between this rear wing and that of Star Wars' iconic spacecraft. Of course, Tate hasn't picked up on this because he's never
I don't get it.
Actually watch Star Wars.
I made a point that I've never watched Star Wars, and every time I say I've never watched Star Wars, people are like, oh, you have to see it, you're missing out.
Number 4, the paint job and exterior options. The copper color of this car is totally unique and makes it one of the best spec Chirons I've ever seen, which I honestly wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, I like his the most.
The car has a copper, red and black theme, so he's paid extra for the black wheels, which is a rumoured $30,000 option, and also extra for red brakes, which I suspect could be a $60,000 option, as that was how much it cost on the Porsche 918 Spider. No wonder so many of those had the stock acid green brakes. The engine cover is also finished in red, along with a number in the front grille that's also in red, and this ties in really well to this theme that you'd think wouldn't work, but it really does, like eating KFC on a private jet.
KFC, obviously. Fried chicken, what else am I going to eat?
The car also has the external carbon fiber package, which is about $200,000. Yes, you can easily spend as much as a Maserati MC20 on the exterior carbon alone. There's also the sky view option, which is Bugatti's fancy way of saying it's got 2 windows in the roof, and of course that'll cost you $62,000. So it's likely that the exterior options alone add up to $352,000, but it could easily be more, especially with that copper paint job. Number 5, the expensive options can be witnessed in the interior too. The red seatbelts are a paid optional extra. I'm not sure how much they cost, but it'll be in the thousands if the other options are anything to go by. Then Tate's opted for the full interior carbon fiber package, so that's another $60,000 easily splashed out, but I think you'll agree it was
I like the Tate icon on the chairs.
worthwhile. Finally, you've got the Tate family name embroidered in the
Oh, here it
headrests,
is.
which is kind of the ultimate flex and also a
Tate.
sign of intent to keep the car. Additionally, it's pretty clever because it adds legitimacy to his brand and deters anyone from saying his cars are borrowed or rented. These are handwritten by one of Bugatti's workers when you go to the factory, and Sam from Seen Through Glass actually did a great video on the
What's written here? Andrew?
specking process of a Bugatti.
Rick Tanya. Tate is on the right. Is it Tristan? Andrew?
Very recently, so I'll put that in the description because it's worth a watch. Number 6 is the engine. The Chiron is extremely likely to be the last car ever to be produced with a W16 engine, and what a W16 at that. An extremely well packaged engine that actually takes inspiration from VW's VR6 engines in the 90s, which allows the engine to be barely wider than an inline 16, but half the length of one. It's got 4 turbos bigger than Tate's Ego. This helps the car produce a total of 1,500 horsepower.
What? So many great comments by him.
Turbos bigger than Tate's Ego. This helps the car produce
What?
packaged engine that actually takes inspiration from VW's VR6 engines in the 90s, which allows the engine to be barely wider than an inline 16, but half the length of one. It's got 4 turbos bigger than Tate's Ego. This
Oh my god, I have no fucking clue about specs of the cars, but those comments are so fucking hilarious.
helps the car produce a total of 1,500 horsepower, making it actually the least powerful car in the Chiron lineup, just behind the Bugatti Chiron Supersport with 1,600 horsepower. Finally, this is one of the rarest cars ever made, with a production run of just 60. And the Supersport isn't just a Chiron with a wing. It's got a completely different suspension setup, far more front camber than you'd ever imagine, and new tires have had to have been produced by Michelin because of that camber, just for this car. Furthermore, it's 110 pounds lighter than a standard Chiron, and all of this together makes this the fastest accelerating Chiron of them all, with a 0 to 60 of 2.3 seconds versus the standard Chiron's 2.5, and a 0 to 186 mile per hour time
Specs, nobody cares about that.
of 12.4 seconds versus 13.6. Because, you know,
Where are those comments? Here it is.
we're always going 186 miles per hour on a public road. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, if you liked this video and liked hearing about the coolest features on Tate's Bugatti Chiron Supersport. Now, I'm not going to comment on Tate himself. He's a pretty controversial guy, so I'm going to stick to the cars in this one. That's what I know. But I do want to hear it down below. Are any of you guys involved?
Here's a good one. Let's see. He put something in the comments.
Yes. I love me the Chiron Super Sport.
What is this about? Bugatti invited me to drive their 3 million Christian Humber Sport. Okay.
Yes. Now look, I'm super lucky to do what I do. This is not the first time that an amazing manufacturer has invited me to their headquarters to drive one of their incredible cars. But for some reason it feels differently when it's Bugatti inviting you. Maybe I just feel differently about Bugatti. In my mind, they're elite, they are ultimate, they are super exclusive. I don't actually think they need PR, so I'm not
Bugatti in our language means rich.
entirely sure why I'm here, but I'm very grateful that I am. Of course, Bugatti has an incredible history, but over the last 15 years or so, they've been responsible for making two of the most iconic hypercars of all time. Of course, the Veyron and now the Chiron. They're both iconic and rare. They only made 450 Veyrons, they're only making 500 Chirons, which means seeing one, let alone driving one, is not something that happens every day. And on top of that, because production numbers are so low, very few people get the chance to step inside Bugatti HQ here in Molsheim, France. And just like their cars, Bugatti's headquarters are like nothing else. Check this place out!
Oh, this looks cute. Okay.
And it just feels really, really unique. Of specking my fiber. And it wasn't even that hard to stumble upon. I was like, oh, Yosha, have you got brown? He's like, what about brown carbon? I mean, unreal. Loads of aluminium touches. This being Bugatti, that's not painted to look like aluminium. That would be actual aluminium. So I like that because it really sort of pops and breaks it up. It's a semi-classical look, I guess you could say. So, Yosha, thank you very much. You've been very helpful so far at spending my make-believe money. But you said that we're about to come on to the interior, which is where you can have a lot of fun with individualization. Oh, wow, that's a tough word to say on a hot day. Individualization. So talk to me, what are our options? Because it's already a stunning interior, but what can we do now?
So you can basically do lots of things also in the interior. So first of all, you can choose between the materials. For example, now here we have the dashboard in carbon fiber, but you can also go for Alcantara, leather.
Bugatti, actually, very quickly.
So with the color.
Program is really like having logos on the headrest or like sketches in the door panel, for example. We did this several times.
Sketches, like sketches of my dog, or like what?
Yeah,
what are you sketching?
Basically, yes, you could have
Really?
also a sketch of your dog, but normally we go for like Bugatti-related things. So basically, it's like the history of Bugatti, like the iconic models of the history, or from the modern time to the past. But we also had a customer, for example, he had a very personalized sketch that was reflecting, let's say, his life also in combination to the Bugatti story. So this was basically very nice. So we can basically print the sketch, or we can also stitch it in the door panel. So we go for both. This is no problem.
Okay, well, I'm going to need a little bit more time to think about that, because that feels like a big decision. But I feel like an easy one would be a name on the headrest. And then if I'm trying to buy a Chiron Super Sport, I need to convince my wife first. So yeah, maybe let's put her name on the headrest.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I might win that battle.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
So I will prepare this. So I will write the name in the handwriting, and then we. So we can do a couple of
Variations. This is going to make her very happy. And just because my ego's big, can you do one that's STG?
STG.
Yeah, there we go. So that's if I decide that I don't want her name and I want my brand instead. Okay, super nice. So you're literally just sit here sketching with customers, playing around with different designs and things like that,
exactly.
and then eventually that gets embroidered up onto the headrest?
Exactly.
Oh my God, I can see how we're going to spend a lot of money in here. But yeah, okay, well, I didn't realize we're going to have a lot more to think about with Well, it's about an hour later. I finished specking my dream Chiron Supersport, had a quick bite to eat. Now it's finally time for me to get behind the wheel of a Chiron Supersport. And here's the car in question, looking stunning in white with that extended long tail. Oh my God, I am buzzing with excitement. Now joining me on my drive will be Andy Wallace, the man responsible for, well, the world record, the 304 miles an hour in a Chiron Supersport. I mean, it's 1,600 horsepower. 1,600. And that 1,600 horsepower makes this the most powerful Chiron ever. It's 100 horsepower more than the Chiron Sport I drove a few years ago. I couldn't wait to see how the latest and greatest Bugatti felt on the road.
That's the first test,
Yeah, I have. Thank God, I'm allowed to drive now, yeah. So I'll let you, like my driving instructor, let me know where I need to go, left or right at any time.
So right at the roundabout?
Right at the roundabout. I feel like I'm 17 all over again. The thing which always blows my mind about Chiron is how easy this is. Actually, Bugattis in general. I'm driving now like I'm in my Audi RS6. It's all just very straightforward and unintimidating, considering what it can actually do and achieve. And I love that about these cars. Right at the roundabout again. Okay. Are we going onto what we would call a motorway? Oh God. Right. I'm going to take it a little bit easy on the on-ramp, because I think if I blitz out of here at 300 kilometers an hour, people might get a little bit scared. Okay, I'm at about 30% throttle, and this thing is really picking up and ready to go. There's just always power available. I really wasn't trying there. I was just joining the motorway, and the thing suddenly was like, oh, here we go. It wants to blast off at jet speed. It's outrageous. So if I just bring us down a little bit slightly, I just do a bit more of an acceleration. Here we go, boys and girls. Oh! It conjures up power just out of nowhere, but you do kind of hear it and sense it building. It's not like literally sort of an electric car where there's that instant torque, but it's so rewarding because you hear this, and then, by the way, I'm accelerating very gently, but you hear this all coming and then it just delivers it and you are launched another 10 kilometers down the road before you know it. Oh my God, I'm already sweating and I haven't really pressed the throttle. Gosh, oh, and this leather, this beautifully simplistic layout, and then the knowledge that you could just demolish anything in front of you. Here we go, truck pulling out the way. Oh my gosh, oh, it wanted to kick down again, and I was a bit nervous for that one. These days with all these electric road, I mean, performance is definitely not something it might be able to achieve it in this car. Yes. Oh, I love me the shots. Do this to drive that car. There's a part of me which is like, oh, I didn't really get to drive it long enough. I wanted to experience it in lots of different ways, and I was only just starting to really get good at driving it, or get used to driving it maybe. And then obviously we had to head back here, but that's fine. That's fine, because I still drove it, and very few people around the world are ever going to get the chance to experience this thing. And also, quite interestingly, it's not actually a sort of press car in the traditional sense. That's a customer car that is very kindly being allowed, well, Bugatti are allowed to use for sort of demo or press activities. It's a very different system. So yeah, you can't just go and put thousands of miles in that car like I would like to. But yeah, absolutely mind-boggling. And in my mind, Bugatti are living up to every expectation I have for them. They are the best of the best at this kind of stuff. This ultra, super powerful hypercar world. And yeah, I was going to stare at this for a little bit longer. Well, if I didn't want the car badly enough already, look at what it's done. There we go. I think he's going to be very happy now. Might let me actually buy the car. And then look at that STG on the driver's seat. Sold, sir. Yeah. Where do I buy that? I can't pay anything, but okay. Mate, thank you for doing that. That is very special to see. It's a pleasure. I think if you were actually coming to collect your car and it had that embroidery, it would be pretty amazing. So yeah, thank you for everything. Thank you for the experience. It's been super special. Oh, dude, thank you. Well, I'm going to frame that. It's the closest I'm going to get to having a Chiron in my life.
Thank you.
You're a hero. Hopefully see you again soon.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Good video. See you tomorrow.